Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I do want to speak about Barcelona's injury list. I know that you guys have already read the title, you guys know exactly what has been going on, but the issue is bigger than just Pedri. The issue is just bigger than Pedri being out for 6 to 7 weeks. I believe that Barcelona's biggest issue right now is about almost all of their main players getting injured, because Barcelona might go on 5 months into the season without ever playing their best group of players. Everything that we have seen, or what was special in the 2024-2025 season, that team has yet to be placed in this season, and we're about to go to November, which is insane to me. I'm going to give you guys all of the players that have gotten injured in this season, which is not normal, by the way. So let's start with July 2025. Marc-Andre ter Stegen got a back injury, and he was estimated to be out for 131 days. We're like, okay, fine, whatever is Marc-Andre ter Stegen, we have Joan Garcia. A couple of weeks later, in early September 2025, Alejandro Balde also got injured. He got a hamstring injury on his left leg, and he was estimated to be out for 4 weeks. Fast forward a couple of days later, Gavi got injured. It was a medial meniscus tear, and he was estimated to be out for 5 months. We have yet to see Gavi since that injury. And then going on to mid-September, Lamine Yamal got injured with a groin irritation, and it was estimated at that time that he was going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks. As a matter of fact, Lamine Yamal came in and came back out because he was rushed through the Spanish national team and also by FC Barcelona, and that is why Lamine Yamal has only been playing at 60%. So this is an ongoing issue. We fast forward to September 26, 2025, and Joan Garcia also got an injury with his left knee going through a meniscus tear, and it did require surgery, very similar to what happened with Gavi a few months ago. And Joan Garcia was expected to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Joan Garcia is going to be coming back very soon. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he features in the match against Elche. But like I've said, Joan Garcia never should have gotten out. We needed Joan Garcia over the past 2 to 3 months. Fast forward to late September to early October, Rafinha got injured with a hamstring injury on his right thigh, and his estimation to be out was 3 weeks. Rafinha is very close to returning. I don't know if it's going to be happening in the match against Elche, but for sure Rafinha will be there just in time after the international break. However, like I've said, we needed Rafinha against Real Madrid, against PSG, against Sevilla. Rafinha is very important, and it did cost us a lot. Fast forward to early October, Dani Olmo got injured, muscle tear in his left leg. It's been estimated that he's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. And then we have Ferran Torres on October 13th, who got a hamstring overload on his left leg. It was very short term, but we needed Ferran Torres due to squad depth purposes. Ferran Torres is expected to return in the match against Elche and play at 100%, because in the match against Real Madrid, Ferran Torres couldn't really do much. You can see that he's very out of rhythm compared to the other players. And then we have Lewandowski, who has been out injured since October 14th and maybe even before that, with a biceps femoris tear on his left hamstring. Once again, very similar to Ferran Torres. He is expected to feature in the match against Elche. It was estimated at that time that he was going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, but it does seem like everything's going to be okay. However, like I said, we needed Ferran Torres and Lewandowski and Rafinha over the past 4 to 5 weeks. It did harm us a lot. We lost a lot of points. And to top it all off, now knowing that we have gotten some players back, even though they were out for very long, Pedri is now out. So it's like we gained one player, but only to lose one later on. Pedri has suffered a rupture on his biceps femoris on his left leg. And when the news first came out, people were reporting that he was going to be out for maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, that this is all just a chess move, so Pedri does not have to play during the international break. However, at that time when the story did first come out to the media, I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think that this is all a chess move, because we said the exact same thing with Rafinha, we said the exact same thing with Lamine Yamal, and only for them to come back from international break and still be injured. I feel like the same thing is going on here. And so only to find out a few hours later, Pedri's recovery time is going to be 6 to 7 weeks. It's not going to be 3 weeks. He's going to be out for longer than expected, double than what was originally expected. So he will miss at least 8 matches, and including the match against Chelsea and Atlético Club. And those are 2 very important games. We have talked about time and time again how important Pedri is to this Barcelona system. Pedri is that player that can progress the ball. He can win the ball as well. He is monumental to this Barcelona system. And without Pedri, Barcelona is going to look like a much different team. I really do think that the moment where we saw Pedri get into that fatigue state leading to an injury was when we saw Pedri run relentlessly to get the ball back after he lost control in the dying minutes of the match against Real Madrid, leading to the red card. I felt like Pedri just had it. Like, he's like, bro, I am so tired of this. I'm just gonna like out fatigue myself, whatever. I'm frustrated. And now we sit here today knowing that Pedri is gonna be out for 6 to 7 weeks. So we saw Pedri earlier today training at the gym individually and not with the group. And so we should have seen this coming. Like, really, we should have seen this coming, knowing that we have used most of our most important players in every game and playing 90-minute matches. We should have seen that coming. And it's insane, right? Because I know that Hansi Flick is gonna have a very tough time trying to reconfigure what to do. What is going to be the plan B? This guy has to think all the time. time. Like at one point he has to think about, okay, how is this team going to look like without Yamal? How is this team going to look like without Lewandowski? How is this team going to look like without Rafinha? Now he has to think about, how does this team have to look like without Pedri? It's an ongoing problem, and he has to modify the system almost every 2 or 3 weeks. And I remember this was happening to Xavi Hernandez back when he was coaching Barcelona, when he was losing players left and right and people were not giving a damn. They're like, Xavi, you better give results. Who cares? Like, I know that you lost players, but you better give results. You better score 2 or 3 goals in every match or else you're going to be sacked. Like, they were giving Xavi a very hard time. And I hope that we don't do the exact same thing with Hansi Flick. Like, if we lower our level, we cannot go to Hansi Flick and say, give us the results or you're going to be fired or you should be out and away from our club and that you're making excuses. No, this is a real thing. It happens to every freaking coach. And I am not here, right? And you guys know that I am a huge Xavi Hernandez fan, and I'm not here to try and defend Xavi Hernandez. I'm not trying to make this about Xavi Hernandez. I just want us to make sure that when coaches go through situations like this where they have to deal with an injury, a different injury, every 2 to 3 weeks, we have to give these coaches some room to breathe and have better understanding that it is much more difficult to handle a system when most of your players are not even available. It's not about Xavi Hernandez, it's about FC Barcelona, because I do not want to see the whole media, because I am going to be expecting them to do it like AS, whatever you want to call them, Sport, Mundo, ESPN, Twitter, YouTube, and whatever. I don't want to see them go out there and say that Hansi Flick should be sacked, that he's nothing, that he's making excuses, that he's not bringing the results and we have to bring in a brand new coach. Like, no, I don't want to hear that. Hansi Flick is the correct coach. He just does not have any material to work with. And it's going to happen. Like, it will be here. And I want you guys to like mark this on what I'm saying. There will be a lot of media noise on Hansi Flick in a few weeks because we all know that Barcelona is missing their key players. These are not excuses. It's just the reality. We can even go back before Xavi Hernandez when Luis Enrique had the MSN. Luis Enrique was amazing with the MSN, winning every trophy in his first season, but only to find out like a year and a half later, maybe in 2016 and 2017, when Luis Enrique did not have Neymar or Suarez or Messi or whoever, Luis Enrique did underdeliver. And the media were trying to push Luis Enrique out. They were like, oh yeah, excuses, you're not a good coach, like you need the MSN to survive and whatever. But no, he needs these players. It goes hand in hand. The coach needs good players and the good players need a good coach. And that is why we saw Luis Enrique leave FC Barcelona, because he was tired. He was tired of hearing these people try to punish him because he could not bring the results. But look what happened a few years later. Look at Luis Enrique with PSG. What was the one thing Luis Enrique proved at PSG? It is the fact that he does not need Messi, Neymar, and Kylian Mbappe to win it all. What he needed was a real team, a real oiled machine, and he won everything. Luis Enrique was always a good coach. As long as all of his players were available, like what we saw last season for PSG, Luis Enrique can do his thing. So the same thing has to be said with Hansi Flick. As long as Hansi Flick has all of his players available, let him do his thing, we will be successful. But the moment we see Yamal or Pedri or Kubarsi or Balde all at the same time get out and not be at 100%, then yes, he is going to underdeliver and we have to give him some space. So Pedri started every match this season, 13 total under Hansi Flick, and with his absence, it is going to leave a huge gap in terms of creativity and midfield control. Like, think about this, right? He led the team in terms of pressures with a total of 229, and also with defensive actions with 255. He was the most hard-working midfielder that Barcelona had. It is clear evidence on just how much defensive work he does take on compared to the other players. This is the reason why ever since Hansi Flick took charge of Barcelona, Pedri played 72 of 73 matches, missing only one before this, and he made 49 consecutive appearances, showing Flick's immense trust in him. Trust me, bro, Pedri is very important to Flick's system, and now we're gonna have to like re-strategize. What do we do next? And I do have an idea, and let's like really get creative here. Let's think about it. Let's think about what could we have without Pedri? What could we do to really maintain close to the creativity that we would have with Pedri? And I do think that Lamine Yamal should be playing as a number 10. This is going to be something that I'm going to be talking about later down this week, because I do think that Lamine Yamal has the capacity to play in number 10. He has played in that position before, back in his youth years. I mean, like, it's not like this guy is old or something. He's still only 18 years old, but I'm talking about like back in his youth years, around the age of 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, Lamine Yamal was playing as a number 10. The reason why he was being placed as a right winger under Xavi, under Hansi Flick, was because his 1v1 offensive power was immense and they needed that on the right flank. However, when push comes to shove and we don't see a player like Pedri available and we want creativity that can be paired with Frankie and Fermin Lopez, Yamal should be given the central role. Lamine Yamal is a player that I think could receive the ball between the lines and look for either Rafinha or Marcus Rashford on the wings, because his through passes, his key passes, it's also very immense. He can do a lot of damage there. I would also be very comfortable with having Fermin Lopez in the CDM position with Frankie de Jong. So you can almost see it's kind of like a 3-man midfield with Frankie as a lone pivot, but I will say that Fermin Lopez can have that defensive duty to really create a double pivot as well. It's like a hybrid, and Fermin Lopez can give you those fast forward vertical plays that he's really good at through the midfield, right? So like one of the things that made Barcelona so successful last season was the fact that we could give the ball to one of our midfielders and they immediately pass it to either Rafinha or whoever was on the wings. It goes by fast, and Fermin Lopez is a master in terms of receiving the ball through one touch and then making the second touch as a pass, or just making 1-2s. Think about what Fermin Lopez did with that vertical play against Bayern Munich last season. It was a quick one touch, and we need that type of verticality and speed again under Flick's Barca. So when you combine the verticality of those passes from Fermin and Lamine Yamal's overall creativity, we can do some damage there. And I think that it's also great to hear that maybe Rafinha can go on the right wing position. It's one of the other ideas that I would have, because think about it, Jules Koundé defensively has been very underwhelming. Yes, he has been okay offensively, but defensively, we know that Koundé has a high level, but he has underdelivered. He does need some help. And with Rafinha going onto the right wing position, you can really balance that out, because Rafinha is a monster when it comes to tracking back, a monster when it comes to pressing, a monster when it comes to making those runs behind the defensive line, and Jules Koundé can pick those passes. Keep in mind that Joan Garcia, like what we talked about before, Joan Garcia could be back for the match against Elche, Dani Olmo as well, because he did return to the field training. The same thing can be said with Lewandowski, so that is why I have Lewandowski up top there, and Dani Olmo can come in maybe for Lamine Yamal, give him some rest, or maybe even come in for Rafinha and they can switch positions. But let me know in the comment sections down below. Now knowing that Pedri is going to be out for 6 to 7 weeks, what would be your ideal starting 11 without him that can really give us the results that we have been looking for? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.